the gentleman from Surigao del Sur, the Honorable Romeo S. Momo, for his privileged speech.
There's a motion to recognize the Honorable Representative Romeo S. Momo, Senior of the First District of Surigao del Sur. Is there an objection? Chair hears none. That motion is approved. Sir, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise today on a matter of personal and collective privilege. The call for shame of the President, His Excellency Ferdinand Marcos Jr., echoed first in these August halls and reverberated all over the country. Thus calls for investigation, transparency, and accountability from public and private sectors ensue. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, in these critical times, when our nation is being tested by natural calamities and public doubt, we must stand united in our commitment to progress, resilience, and responsible governance. In the forefront of these issues we are now facing is the agency that has been and continues to be a strong pillar of our country's development and progress, the Department of Public Works and Highways, an institution that I have served for 43 long years. The DPWH has always stood for one mission: to build a stronger, safer, and more resilient nation. Whether it is constructing roads in remote mountains or fortifying flood defenses in low-lying communities, constructing school buildings in far-flung areas, its work is driven by one goal: inclusive public service for every Filipino. The President himself has acknowledged the strategic role of DPWH in advancing development and disaster resilience, especially under the Build Better More agenda, a vision of dignity, opportunity, justice, and hope. From July 2022 to May 2025, the Marcos government implemented 9,885 flood control projects nationwide worth 545.64 billion. Intended to protect millions of families, especially in high-risk areas in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Mr. Speaker, let me be candid. DPWH is not without fault. Nitong weekend lamang, isang OIC district engineer ang nagtangkang arigluhin ang isang kasamahan natin dito sa Kongreso. Dapat nating aminin na nagkaroon ng pagkukulang sa pagpili ng mga personahe sa DPWH at pagpatupad ng proyekto, particular na sa ilang flood control project sa mga principal rivers and principal river basins. May pagkakataon po na nagsagawa ng mga proyekto na walang sapat na master plan or feasibility study o disensyo, or masyadong pirasong or fragmented, kaya walang malaking impact sa pagbawas ng baha. At may mga proyekto din na awarded sa diskwalipikadong contractors o masyadong mataas ang presyo o hindi ginawa ayon sa aprobadong plano, kaya hindi naibsan ang baha. Ito ang mga pagkukulang na kinikilala mismo ng kagawaran at dapat din natin kilalanin dito sa Kongreso. Some projects have faced delays and deviation from approved plans, and we must acknowledge that. But many of this is stemmed from late-stage modification made outside of the original plans. Some contractors, as well as their government supervisors, also failed to meet standards, and we are working with oversight bodies to ensure accountability. But let us be clear. These systemic issues do not define the integrity of the majority of the dedicated officials and the workers in the Department of Public Works and Highways. The Filipino people are not blind to results. They know that while there is a room for reform and reforms must be made, there are also much tangible achievements worth showcasing. And in that spirit, I believe that majority of us in this chamber understand the importance of sustaining, not dismantling our national infrastructure efforts. The ongoing congressional inquiries for accountability measures and the project audit led by the Commission on Audit are timely and appropriate initiatives for transparency and accountability. Thus, Mr. Speaker, this representation support the call for an independent third-party investigation into flood control projects that are unfinished, substandard, delayed, or worse, ghost projects. If there is proven corruption, let cases be filed. Let heads roll if they must. I even urge the good Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways himself to pursue legal action against guilty contractors, engineers, and officials. Reassign or put on preventive suspension employees or officials connected to ghost or substandard project. This is not to impair the department's reputation, but to strengthen its integrity. At the same time, let us remember that behind every bridge, flood wall, and road is a team of ordinary Filipinos, engineers, laborers, and planners who are civic-spirited individuals, work long hours, often in dangerous conditions, to serve our people. Hindi po sila mga pangalan lamang sa papel. They are our mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters who not only suffer from the same floods we seek to prevent, but out there inspecting and clearing our roads in times of calamities. Let us, on the other hand, take into consideration other important factors. Flooding is not caused by engineering failure alone. Structural solutions are only one piece of a larger puzzle. According to the United Nations, the world produces 400 million tons of plastic annually, equivalent to the weight of nearly 39,603 Eiffel Towers. Here in the Philippines, we discard 2.7 million tons of plastic every year. Of the 61,000 metric tons of solid waste generated daily, 24% is plastic, mostly sachet, packaging, and disposable utensils. Yet, less than 10% is recycled. Mr. Speaker, we're called sachet economy. Every day, Filipinos consume 163 million sachet. At sa oras ng malakas na ulan, ang mga plastic na ito ang bumabara sa kanal, estero at ilog. Kaya po, binabaha ang NCR, Bulacan, Rizal at Pampanga. We must also confront environmental degradation, deforestation in our uplands, illegal mining in our mountains, and rapid urbanization, where natural waterways had been encroached upon by dwellings and informal settlements. Climate change, with its intensifying typhoons and rising sea levels, only worsen this condition. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the challenge for us is twofold: accountability and assurance. Yes, we demand accountability for wrongdoings, but we must also present hope to our countrymen. Raising the morale and the trust in DPWH and our beloved institution is as vital as the pursuit of justice. We must also improve our infrastructure planning and implementation processes to ensure that the Filipinos get their full value for public money on truly high priority, effective flood control facilities. We must further intensify interagency coordination, strengthen our waste management system, enforce environmental protection, and reforest our mountains. Kung hindi po natin mapaigi ang pagplano at pagpatupad ng mga flood control projects, lalo na sa high-risk flooded areas, kung hindi tayo magbabago sa ugali ng pagtatapon ng basura at kawalan ng disiplina, kung patuloy nating sisirain ang kalikasan, walang halaga ang malaki, mahal at magastos na flood control system. Colleagues, floods are not just a natural disaster. They are a mirror of our collective failure as a nation. But we are also being given the opportunity to probe our collective strength, Filipino resilience, and more importantly, discipline. Let me end by saying, it is our duty as legislator to examine how we can improve interagency coordination and funding alignment for a more reliable, resilient, and responsible public works, particularly flood control system. This is the call we must answer now for us and for the generation to come. Let us demand transparency, hold responsible people accountable, let reforms be made, and let us continue to work together towards a common goal, that of having a stronger, safer, and more resilient Philippines. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the lady from Iloilo, the Honorable Janet Garin, for her interpellation.
Deputy Speaker Janet Garin is now recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Is our good colleague, the Honorable Momo, willing to yield to some questions, Mr. Speaker?
It's my honor, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sumasaludo po ako sa ating kasamahan. Naramdam niya ang pinanggalingan ng mga ordinaryong kawani ng gobyerno na tila ngayon yung iba, habang sila'y umaangat sa kanilang posisyon, ay lumalawak naman yung tinatawag natin na risks in serving the government. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, did I hear it right from the Honorable Congressman Momo na hindi naman lahat ng flood control projects ay mali at masama? Can I get his confirmation, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Totoo yun. Hindi
Will you
lahat-
also agree with me, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, in saying na isang institusyon, kapareho ng all other institutions in our country and even outside our country, no institution is perfect and there can always be a few bad eggs that can taint the whole institution. Does this apply to the Department of Public Works and Highways?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, because DPWH is one of the biggest agency in the government today. I think right now there are about more than 35,000 workers in the DPWH. And therefore, kung mayroon lang 1%, 2% na nagkakamali po, hindi buong DPWH ang may kasalanan.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, narinig ko po ang kwento sa larangan ng kalusugan. Meron tayong mga working student na nagvo-volunteer sa hospitals. Katagalan sila'y nagiging nurse, at katagalan sila'y nagiging scholar at nagiging doctor to the barrios, and ultimately they would end up in high positions serving our government and our people. Sa larangan naman ng Department of Public Works and Highways, Mr. Speaker, may I inquire from the Honorable Momo, sa loob po ba ng DPWH, meron din mga kwento ng mga working student na naging inhenyero, nag-aral, nagsumikap hanggang maabot ang mga posisyon bilang direktor or sometimes even an executive position in the EXECOM of the concerned agency, Mr. Speaker?
Marami po. Maraming mga working students, mga scholar ng gobyerno, mga scholar na pinadala ng gobyerno sa Japan, sa ibang lugar. Ito'y nanggaling sa mahihirap ng mga pamilya din, Mr. Speaker. At ngayon, ang iba, mga regional director na o kaya membro pa ng Executive Committee.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, will our good colleague from Surigao agree with me in saying that probably there is a strong demoralization within the ranks of DPWH from top to bottom.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Meron po ba tayong matitino na mga empleyado sa larangan ng Department of Public Works and Highways?
Mr. Speaker, I have been with that agency for 43 years. I know that there are so many of them, dedicated personnel in the Department of Public Works and Highways, na kahit may bagyo, habang binabagyo, habang natutulog tayo, nandun sila sa karsada, inaayos, siniguro nila na pagkatapos ng bagyo, mapadaan ang traffic as usual. Nandoon sila, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that the recent controversies is haunting not only the four corners of the legislative aspect, the legislative branch of government, but specifically the Department of Public Works and Highways. Matanong ko lang, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, at yung ating pong kagalang-galang na colleague ay nanggaling din sa DPWH as a career official who resigned as an undersecretary. Ito bang issue ng substandard projects? Did this only happen for the past 3 years, or has this been an ongoing practice in selected and very selected areas?
Mr. Speaker, right now, the Department of Public Works and Highways is implementing, I think, more than 40,000 projects annually. I believe that hindi ho lahat ay perfectong proyekto. May pagkakamali din. If you ask us kung ask me, Mr. Speaker, kung nung nakaraan mayroon ding mga pangyayaring ganon, I think mayroon ding nangyayaring ganon, Mr. Speaker. Pero parte kasi sa mga kontrata nila that they have to rectify it at their own expense. Gagawin nila yon. Pero sa totoo lang, Mr. Speaker, ngayon lang din ako naka-encounter ng mga issue about ghost project.
In other words, Mr. Speaker, malamang at posible na nangyayari to dati, medyo sa mga tago na lugar, subalit dahil sa adrenaline at kagustuhan ng ating mahal na Pangulo na mapuntuhan or matuldukan ang mga bagay na ito, ngayon lang ito na pag-usapan sa publiko at ngayon nga ay nililinis. Do I get that concept right, Mr. Speaker? Tama po ba?
Well, yes, Mr. Speaker. Ngayon lang ito nabigyan ng husto ng pansin. At I think this is one also of a good result. There's some good result in this actually para mapigil na rin kung mayroon man mga mismanagement sa implementation ng projects. But again, I always stand on my point that hindi lahat ng mga personahe ng Department of Public Works and Highways ay gumagawa ng mga ganong pagkakamali.
Mr. Speaker, the privileged speech of the Honorable Momo caught my attention, not only because he's speaking from his heart, but more so because narinig ko kasi I come from a constituency kung saan napakahaba po ng aming coastal line at talagang maraming pamilya at kabahayan ang nakakatulog na ngayon dahil sa mga sinimulan na shoreline protection and flood control projects. So I agree with him, Mr. Speaker, not all flood control projects are wrong. What makes it wrong is those people who are unscrupulous enough to implement it on an extremely substandard basis. Now, Mr. Speaker, ang sa akin lang po, tuunan natin ang pangalawang nangyayari. While we do admit, and I do salute the Honorable Momo for speaking up and pointing this out, nakikita rin natin na yung mga flood control projects, tila nagiging rason. It is being pinpointed as the cause of every problem that exists. Kamakailan lang yung pumasok ang 3 bagyo na nagsama-sama, pinagbintangan ang flood control projects as the cause of the surge in leptospirosis cases and leptospirosis deaths. However, the DOH data will show that there were fewer cases and deaths during this time of the year as compared to the previous years, which brings to the fact that baka nagkulang tayo ng pagre-remind sa ating mga kababayan. In other words, Mr. Speaker, tila nagiging rason ang flood control issue sa lahat ng problema dala ng climate change. Will our distinguished colleague agree with that, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I really agree on what the Honorable Garen has said. To be honest, Mr. Speaker, a successful flood control does not mean na walang baha. Ibig sabihin, kahit gaano kagaling ang isang flood control, kung malakas ang buhos ng ulan beyond the design capacity, magbabaha pa rin. But one of the measure of a successful flood control, madaling ibsan or mag-subside ang baha. Kaya in answer to the question na kukunti lang ngayon ang biktima ng leptospirosis because madaling bumaba ang baha.
Mr. Speaker, kanina lang nakita po natin ang PowerPoint ni Congressman Momo. What caught my attention there was the fact na bawat taon padami ng padami ang basura. Can the Honorable Momo confirm this, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And Mr. Speaker, may I ask the Honorable Momo kung meron ba siyang datos?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, according to MMDA, datos ito ng MMDA, there are about 0.4 to 0.7% kilos of basura generated per person per day. There are about 15,000 million people in Metro Manila times 7%. It's approximately about almost 10
Ibig
million.
sabihin, Mr. Speaker, taon-taon sa pagdami ng tao, dumarami rin ang basura.
Yes, because it's computed per person, Mr. Speaker.
So if we have an increase of 10% population per year, it simply states the possibility that there's also a 10% increase in the volume of garbage.
Definitely, Mr. Speaker.
Matanong ko lang, Mr. Speaker, kasi nung ako'y bata pa at tumatakbo-takbo sa lansangan, naalala ko po, Mr. Speaker, palagi akong inuutusan ng aking nanay at ng aking tatay, magwalis ka, iha. Pagkatapos magwalis, ay siyempre sinusunog ko yung mga dahon na yon, kaakibat dyan yung mga basura ng mga pagkain na naiwan, natira, o kaya ang mga basura-basura sa bahay. However, Mr. Speaker, as the years passed, naipatupad yung Clean Air Act, which actually prohibits the burning of garbage at the back of the houses or in public areas or even in areas covered by barangays and local government unit. Is the honorable gentleman from Surigao aware of this, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm aware of that.
And is it also true, Mr. Speaker, na sa pagdami ng tao, lalo na sa Metro Manila, and even in the other cities, we have a lot of rivers na meron tayong illegal settlers na hanggang ngayon ay tila patuloy yung pag-expand nila ng mga bahay nila. And in fact, in some of the rivers, talagang natatakpan na ito o tinatambakan ng panambak para maging pundasyon ng bahay ng ating illegal settlers.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Basically, actually, ang flood control is to allow the passage of a volume of water sa mga riverways. Dapat sana ang riverways natin unimpeded ang flow. At ang volume ng flow supposed to be, Mr. Speaker, ay continuous up to the outfall or up to kung saan siya lalabas. Ang problema sa ating mga river system in Metro Manila, Tulyahan man siya, San Juan man siya, Pasig, Marikina, except probably Marikina, ang ating river system, malaki ang sa taas, at medyo magna-narrow down and then lalaki ulit. I mean, because of the presence of illegal construction within our riverways, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I believe the majority leader would like to quickly interject.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to extend the privilege hour for another 30 minutes to allow our other members who registered from the Committee on Rules to avail of privilege hour.
There's a motion to extend the privilege hour for another 30 minutes. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Said motion is approved. You may continue.
Mr. Speaker, to continue, tama naman po na talagang busisiin at merong managot sa mga flood control projects na ghost or substandard. Pero tila hindi nararapat na lahat ng problema ng Pilipinas ay isandal na lamang doon sa issue ng flood control dahil nabubuksan yung ating mga mata ngayon sa mas malaking problema. And this is the uncontrollable and unmanageable garbage that our country is producing. Do I get that right, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, that's right.
Matanong ko lang, magkano po ba ang presyo kapag ikaw ay nagtatapon ng basura?
That I have no idea, Mr. Speaker.
And Mr. Speaker, pwede po bang matanong, ilan po ba ang inaalaw ng ating gobyerno na magkolekta at magtapon ng basura ng mga pribadong sektor at ng mga pampublikong sektor kasama ang mga barangay at mga bayan?
Sa ngayon, Mr. Speaker, I have no complete data about it.
But on a presumption, Mr. Speaker, will our distinguished colleague agree with me in saying na napakakonte ng mga accredited garbage haulers or garbage disposal corporations or whatever you call them?
Yes, definitely tama ang observation ni Honorable Janet Garin. Kukunti lang ang mga haulers ng mga basura natin, not only in Metro Manila but all other cities in the country.
Is there a possibility, Mr. Speaker, that there is a semi-monopoly of garbage handlers? Baka po na lumalala ang baha sa dami ng basura, pero yumayaman naman ang kokonte na binigyan ng karapatan na gampanan ito.
Most likely, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, pinagbawal magsunog ng basura dahil sa Clean Air Act. Yan ay nirerespeto natin. But when we talk about the feasibility and the doability of the implementation of the Clean Air Act, is it not that we are inspiring people to throw garbage onto the rivers or throw them anywhere and clog the drainage, clog the rivers, clog the areas, resulting to flooding, despite the fact there is actually increase in the number of appropriately constructed flood control projects?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I agree with that.
In other words, Mr. Speaker, panahon na para ungkatin din natin bakit ba sa Pilipinas napakamahal magtapon ng basura. Bakit ba sa Pilipinas pinagbawalan natin gawin ito, pinagbawalan natin ang incineration, pero meron lang iilang mga negosyante na naging pangkabuhayan nila ang basura, subalit ang presyo niya ay napakamahal. Panahon na rin siguro, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, na ungkatin natin ang punot dulo at ang totoong rason ng maraming pagbaha, hindi lamang po sa Metro Manila, kundi sa buong area ng Pilipinas, lalo na sa urban centers. And is it not, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, that we also have to call on the DILG to augment the resources of the barangays and the LGUs para tulungan silang gampanan ang kanilang tungkulin na itong ating mga ilog ay hindi patayuan ng bahay, itong ating mga ilog ay hindi patayuan ng infrastruktura at itong ating mga drainage system ay hindi gawing basurahan ng mga barangay, ng mga tao, ng mga bahay na walang choice, kundi maghanap ng paraan dahil kapag sinunog nila ang basura, sila naman ay mapipinalize at makakasuhan. Pag tinapon naman nila, hindi naman nila afford because every fee that they pay is actually passed on to their constituents. Does our distinguished colleague agree with this, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, definitely, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you that to control floodings, it needs a multi-agency approach. It's not only DPWH. Hindi lang kasi ang flood control ang pagkontrol ng baha, hindi lang flood control ang isang solusyon. Maraming solusyon dito. Maraming dahilan kung bakit nagbabaha. And lagi akong tinatanong kung anong mali sa flood control. Wala mali ang flood control. It's only on the implementation of flood control. Ang flood control ay solusyon sa baha. Isa sa mga solusyon sa baha. Ang mali lang kung mali din ang implementation ng flood control system.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, nung unang panahon, nung wala pa ang Clean Air Act, meron po tayong mga ospital who dispose of their medical waste via incineration. Ibig sabihin, kapag ikaw ay nag-opera o nagputol ng paa o nagmenanganak at merong placenta, itong mga medical waste na ito ay sinusunog because it makes them zero infectious and it also allows the hospital to dispose of their medical waste. Dagdag pa dyan, yung mga karayom na ginagamit sa mga pasyente para kumuha ng dugo o magbakuna. During the pandemic, we had a lot of vaccinations right and left. At ipinagbawal ang pag-dispose ng mga karayom or syringes and the needles because it was supposed to be collected by the Department of Health through a provider that they commissioned and brought to the south, either Laguna or in the area in the south where disposal should have taken place. Pero ilang taon na, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, nakikita mo pa rin yung mga karayom sa iba't ibang RHUs. Why? Because it's very expensive to dispose and that's only medical waste. Kaya, Mr. Speaker, I salute the Honorable Momo for standing up and calling a spade a spade. Tama naman po, harapin ang mga walang karumal-dumal na gumawa ng ghost projects, na flood control projects, at iba pa. Papanagutin din ang mga kontraktor na gumawa ng substandard projects. But the Department of Public Works and Highways has also career people who are experts in their field. And dapat tulungan sila at huwag ma-demoralize. Pero hindi naman siguro nararapat na lahat ng problema sa baha ay ituro na lamang sa flood control. Dahil kailangan ito para sugpuin pa ang dagdag na baha, but we also have to open our eyes to a bigger problem. Bakit nga ba sa Pilipinas napakamahal magtapon ng basura? Bakit nga ba sa Pilipinas pinagbawalan mong magsunog ng basura ang mga barangay, but they are left with no option kasi napakamahal ng howling fee na ipapataw sa kanila? Paano naman yung mga bayan na maliliit, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues? Wala silang pambayad sa basura, natatakot magsunog kasi baka makasuhan, kaya nililibing na lang kung saan-saan. We have a creeping problem that should be addressed. And the flood control mess should not be a cover to solve the real problem. And may I appeal to our distinguished colleague, Mr. Speaker, in his motion or in his desire later that the majority leader will refer his privileged speech to the appropriate committee, may also request that I put forward a recommendation that we look into the problem of garbage in our country. We look into the doability of the Clean Air Act. Ang panukalang batas ba na ito ay ginawa para lamang sa iilang negosyante? O talaga bang layunin nito ay proteksyonan ang sambayan ng Pilipinas? Because the way that I am seeing it, Mr. Speaker, tama ang batas, pero hindi applicable, hindi doable sa panahon na ito. Let us not only solve the flood control mess, let us also make disposal of garbage affordable in the Philippines, and let us also amend the Clean Air Act because we need to solve flooding at the very core of its problem. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat, distinguished colleagues. And I do hope that the Honorable Momo will sustain the problem, the investigation, up to the point of time that we really put forward real solutions to the biggest virus that is creeping in our country, the virus we call garbage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you,
Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the gentleman from the First District of Masbate, Honorable Representative Antonio Co, for his interpellation.
The Honorable Antonio Co is now recognized.
Would the gentleman from Surigao have a few questions?
My honor, Mr. Speaker.
On our Senate inquiry or investigations, we found out that there's really a ghost project. And no less than the Secretary of Public Works who confirmed. So, what is really the basis of this ghost projects? Kaninong kasalanan ba ito? Sa Public Works and Highways, sa contractors, on their gross negligence by the Public Works, or the contractor or not following the construction methodological procedures?
To be honest, Mr. Speaker, walang mangyaring ghost project kung binabantayan husto ng mga empleyado ng Department of Public Works and Highways.
That's a correct answer. Walang pwedeng mangyari na ghost projects. So, in a negligence of the Public Works and Highways should be penalized. An outright removal from service, cancellation of eligibility, and perpetual disqualification of holding public office. And to those who falsify, because I know for the fact that you cannot bail a progressive billing. Well, in fact, the project engineer should endorse what we call SWA, Statement of Work Assessment. So, that falsification of public document is under Article 171, 172. It means that this is pression mayor, 6 years and 1 day. Maximum of 12 years imprisonment. And fine, depends upon the gravity of the offense. Are you agree to that?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I even encourage the Department of Public Works and Highway Secretary to file appropriate charges to people who do this. Yung mga opisyalis ng Department of Public Works and Highways na ginagawa or may ginagawang kasalanan. Ginagawa natin ito dahil alam ko, lagi ko nang sinasabi, na maraming empleyado ng Department of Public Works and Highways na matitinong empleyado. Hindi lahat. Kaya dapat kasuhan ang may sala, Mr. Speaker.
So, I know for the fact that there will be ongoing parallel investigations to the Senate and to the House of Congress and under your leadership as the Committee Chair on Public Works and Highways. What will be the basis to know that there will be a substandard cost projects? What will be our basis?
In every contract that has been approved by the Department of Public Works and Highways in whatever level, district, region, there is a plan, program of works, detailed design that is attached to the contract. If there is a deviation in the contract or in the plans, which was not approved by the Department of Public Works and Highways, then there is a substandard implementation of the project.
That's
Dahil hindi
correct.
ito nakasunod sa standard plan or detailed engineering ng Department of Public Works and Highways.
That's correct. The basis of our investigations, either it is a ghost project or substandard, depend upon the specifications and program of work, together with the detailed estimates. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And good day.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the gentleman from the Second District of Caloocan, Senior Deputy Minority Leader Kong Edgar Arice for his interpellation.
The Honorable Edgar Erice is now recognized. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, our honorable colleague from Surigao. Good afternoon. Naniniwala po ba kayo na kundi ang pinakamalaking dahilan ng pagbaha sa Metro Manila at sa mga highly urbanized cities ay yung solid waste problem?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Naniniwala po ba kayo na ang ating bansa ang may pinaka-worst solid waste management system sa buong mundo?
Record will show that yes, it's true.
At ngayon po, siguro mga 11 bagyo pa yung darating sa atin. And sigurado po na makakaranas na naman ng pagbaha. Lalo na yung mga kalungsuran dito sa Metro Manila. Sa susunod na taon po, kung wala tayong gagawin, ay ganun din ang mangyayari at lalo pa pong palala ang sitwasyon ng baha. Naniniwala po ba kayo doon?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Kung ganun po, sa bilang isa pong dating Vatican sa Public Works, the Undersecretary of the Department of Public Works for so long, ano po kaya yung pwede nating gawin para kahit papano sa susunod na taon, pagkatapos sa susunod na taon, pagka makakaranas muli tayo ng pagbaha, ano ba yung pwede nating immediate action na pwedeng magawa para maiwasan o maibsan man lang yung pagbaha?
Una sa lahat, Mr. Speaker, linisin natin ang lahat ng mga waterways. Number 1 yan. Habang ang ating mga waterways ay clogged up, walang tubig na makarating doon sa ating mga pumping stations. Habang maraming basura ang nandyan, ang effective operation ng isang pumping station siguro 2 oras lang. Dahil karamihan ng oras noon ay nagtatanggal ng basura doon sa mga garbage tray ng bawat pumping station. Remember, there are about 71 pumping stations in Metro Manila. Pero kung ang kanyang operational capacity is only 2 hours, dahil halos lahat ng oras nagtatanggal sila ng basura doon sa mga pumping station, hindi rin effective ang ating mga pumping station, Mr. Speaker.
Sir Speaker, are you familiar with the study of the JICA and the World Bank suggesting that if we will just dredge all the waterways in Metro Manila and the Department of Interior and Local Government would admonish all local governments to clean up all the garbage, to prevent the dumping of garbage in our waterways, at least 70% of floodings in Metro Manila will subside. Are you familiar with that?
Totoo, Mr. Speaker. I am very familiar with the World Bank study in 2012.
And
Sinabi doon
according,
sa World Bank study, Mr. Speaker, na kung halimbawa malakas ang ulan in the Upper Marikina, mayroong about 3,200 cubic meter per second ang tubig na lalabas doon sa Upper Marikina. Hindi to kakayanin ng ating Pasig River because the carrying capacity of Pasig River is only 900 cubic meter per second. Ibig sabihin lang po, kailangan talaga linisin natin, palakihan ang lahat ng waterways to accommodate the flow of water. Otherwise, kung di natin kayang ipadaan sa mga river system natin dahil clog up na, itago muna natin ang tubig. Kaya there is a retarding basin that is proposed everywhere in every flood control system. Kaya nga lang po, dapat sundin talaga ito.
and according to that study also, kung malilinis natin yung ating mga waterways sa Metro Manila at hindi na natin tatapunan o pagbabawalan natin o didisiplinahin natin ang ating mga local governments at ang ating mga barangays na maiwasan ang pagtatapon dito, yung pong baha na tumatagal ng 3 oras ay marireduce into 30 minutes. Are you familiar with that study, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Kasi basically, basic lang talaga po. Kailangan lang natin i-improve ang carrying capacity ng bawat waterways. At unfortunately, however, halos lahat ng ating waterways, kung hindi man may illegal construction, puno po ng basura. Tama po.
So, kung susundin po natin yung recommendation na ito, ng mga pag-aaral na ito, at magagawa naman natin to sa madaliang panahon, hindi po ba gagaan ang buhay ng milyong mamamayan ng Metro Manila?
Definitely, Mr. Speaker. Just let the water flow to the kung saan siya lalabas, outfall, na unimpeded. Wala hong mga basura, malaki ang daanan, yung waterways, walang problema na daanan ng tubig. Walang basura, walang obstruction, wala lahat. Sigurado ho ako ang bababa ang kaso ng baha dito sa Metro Manila.
So may solusyon naman po pala, Mr. Speaker. Maliwanag yung solusyon sa problema. Kung masusolusyonan nito, gagaan ang buhay ng mga mamamayan ng Metro Manila. Bakit hindi po kaya ginagawa itong solusyon na ito?
Well, Mr. Speaker, ito ho ay isang multi-agency approach. Hindi lang ho, Department of Public Works and Highways, dapat ho ang ating mga local officials din siguro or other agencies of government magtulong-tulong dito dahil this is not all about infra alone. Marami pa hong factor bakit nagbabaha.
But this seems to be an immediate solution and will have a great impact not only to the lives of our people but to our economy. Sapagkat yung pagbaha, yan lang po sa C3 Road, papunta ng pier. Kapag may konting ulan, hindi na po nakakadaan yung mga trailers, trucks na nagdi-deliver po sa ating pier. O yung galing sa pier na magdi-deliver po ng mga produkto papunta sa iba't ibang bayan at probinsya, hindi na po nakakaraan dyan sa C3 Road. Simple lang naman pala yung solusyon. Lilinisin lang yung ating mga waterways. Hihigpitan lang ng mga local governments yung pagtatapon ng solid waste. Bakit hindi po kaya naigagawa ito for, as I can remember, for the last 10 years? Wala pong ginagawa ang MMDA at ang Department of Public Works na paglilinis o dredging ng mga waterways. Last 10 years po. Kaya po, ipon na yung basura, yung burak sa ating mga waterways dahil walang ginagawang proyekto na ito. Bilyon-bilyon yung mga flood control projects. dito po sa Metro Manila for 3 years. If I remember right, we have spent 50 billion pesos for flood control projects. Kung ginamit natin yon sa dredging ng mga waterways, di nabawasan na yung pagbaha dito sa Metro Manila. Ngayon po, gumagawa tayo ng mga kanal, gumagawa tayo ng drainage na wala namang lulusutang outlet dahil lahat ng waterways natin ay barado ng basura at burak. Bakit po wala bang magagawa ang Kongreso upang puwersahin na ang mga departamento at ahensya na nararapat kumilos dito upang sa susunod na taon, hindi na naman ganito ang mangyayari. I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, sa susunod na mga buwan, flood control ang issue. Baha ang issue. Wala kung makakalimutan nito pagdating ng summer. Pero pagdating ng tagulan, ito na naman ang issue. Kung hindi natin masusolusyon itong problema na ito na meron namang mas madaling solusyon, baka sabihin ng mga mamamayan na inutil na ang ating pamahalaan. Ano po ang tingin nyo, Mr. Speaker?
Tama, Mr. Speaker. Kailangan lang talaga political will. Kailangan linisin natin ang lahat ng ating mga riverways, waterways. Kailangan siguro i-focus na ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno doon sa paglilinis ng daanan ng mga tubig. Alam nyo, Mr. Speaker, i-example ko lang. Yung bahay natin, mayroon tayong kanal, na-clog up ang kanal. Nakita mo, mag-overflow yan. That's a very simple flood control system. So ganoon din dito. Pag na-clog up ang waterways, ang daanan ng tubig, sigurado na po ako may baha.
Can we not force these agencies to do their work and perform dredging operations in all waterways, at least in Metro Manila, because this is the showcase of our republic?
Dapat lang po na itong mga involved na agencies na ito, talagang dapat kikilos na para maayos ang mga problema natin.
Yes, I join you, at kung ito pong inyong privilege speech ay marirepair sa karampatang mga committees, pero po kailangan natin talagang ipagpilitan na gawin nila ito upang sa ganon, sa susunod man lang na tagulan, ay masasabi ng ating mga kababayan na may ginawa tayo. Dito sa Kongreso, may ginawa rin ang Executive Department. Salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of Congressman Momo and its interpellations to the Committee of Rules for its appropriate action.
There's a motion to refer the privilege speech of the Honorable Romeo S. Momo and its interpellations to the Committee on Rules. Is there an objection? The chair hears none. Said motion is approved.